Hey guys, look what I got. That's right, I got this 5.8 gigahertz FPV racer. This is essentially a NIHUI clone, and which is aka a modified Blade Inductrix. I got it from tomtop.com. I'm gonna quit talking. We're gonna open up the box and we're gonna see what's going on inside. Alright guys, here's what we've got going on inside the box. As you can see, we've got our charger right there. Our spare props are also in that package. We've got our 5.8 gigahertz FPV drone right there. And over here, we've got our radio, which is very similar to like the Proto-X radio and Cheerson CX10 radios. And right back there, we've got our one cell 3.7 volt 200 milliamp hour LiPo battery. Alright guys, so here's an up close and personal look at this thing. It is very reminiscent of the Blade Inductrix. It's got the brushed motors. It has, although this thing has a camera and antenna. I did do a quick little test flight. I could not fly this thing. It's been staring at me the last couple days, and I finally got a little time here to check it out, unbox it for you guys, and I took a little test flight. This thing is very responsive. Even in the low rate setting, it's still going to be a little quick for indoor flight, and the fast setting definitely seems like it's going to be able to handle reasonable amounts of wind. And the FPV camera seemed to be pretty clear. I don't see a way to change the channel. There may be under this cap that I'm not aware of. In fact, there may be a switch that I'm looking at there. Regardless, you're going to have to take this top to access it. Either way, I was able to find it quickly with my FPV headset. Speaking of that, I also got this. It's got dual antennas, and that's what I plan to use to fly this indoors. I have heard good things about it. It's got two antennas, so nice clarity. I heard the monitor's pretty clear too, so look for that review coming up soon. I am going to charge this thing's battery while I unbox this thing, and coming up next, we are going to do the Maiden Flight. Alright guys, so here's a look from the FPV drone. Onboard camera. Looks pretty good. These are my new FPV goggles. Right there. Got everything velcroed up at the top. And I'm going to do a quick little line of sight flight here. Show you guys the basics on the remote, and then I'm going to try it FPV. Alright, so the first thing you do is turn on the radio, and then you plug in the battery. You see that's flashing over there. So to bind it, just flip it up like that and you're good to go. Alright, so this side right here, this is your speed mode. So if you hear one beep, it is in the first flight mode. If you hear two, that means it's in the fast mode. So it's got two settings. I'm going to fly it here with just the first setting. And here comes the Maiden Flight. It's pretty responsive, really, for just being in the first flight mode, which is a good thing. Alright, see what the yaw rate is. Not super fast yaw rate, but it's definitely decent for indoors. I'm going to set this down here. It's needs a little right trim, so let's see if that smooths it out a little bit. Oh yeah, that's definitely better. Still might need a little bit more. Oh yeah, that's neutral. That's pretty good. Alright, so this thing, it feels like an Inductrix. The sticks are a little bit shorter, so you can get stick extensions. Actually, let's set this down. See if these things, yep. These things pop off, so you can actually get stick extensions, so you've got more sensitivity, which is a good thing. because most people have a hard time flying these with these tiny little thumb pads. So let's take this off again. Let's fly it. I'm not sure what kind of flight time we're gonna get, but that's alright. Alright. I just switched. The beep isn't really very loud on this thing, which is good and bad. Oh yeah, the yaw rate's much faster on the second rate. And that's cool. It's definitely, oh yeah, the pitch is a lot more, so it's a lot quicker. Yeah, I'll be able to tear this place up with this thing. You know, this thing doesn't have very bright lights. The lights are minimal, which is fine. It's an FPV flyer, so it really doesn't need lights. Yeah, this thing is fun, guys. Alright, I'm going to quit wasting the battery on just the line of sight flight. And now, I'm going to put on my FPV goggles and we're going to try to fly FPV in GB Linden's studio, aka his bedroom. So here we go, guys. Yeah, I can see really well in these goggles. I'm getting used to the throttle on this thing a little bit, but once I get used to it, kind of like I had to do with my Proto-X and Cheerson CX10s, it should be no problem flying this thing with nice control and everything. But I'm used to flying with longer sticks, so it'll take probably throughout the point of this video, by the time I hit low voltage cutoff, to get to that point. Alright, let's fly a little closer to the camera. Make myself dizzy, sweet. Yeah, this is going to be so much fun in my apartment, guys. I'm just going to set that down there. Don't want to dump all the battery here on camera, because I'm going to fly it around my apartment off camera here shortly. And then I'm going to report back. Alright, guys. So I just did some flying around my apartment off camera and found that this thing is awesome. It bounces off the walls, keeps on going, and one of the other things that I just discovered throughout that process was that I have a second battery that I can use with this. It's the battery that comes with the JJRC H36. So there's that. That's a 150, and of course this is a 200, and the flight time, even with the 150, was still pretty darn good. So I am going to have a ton of fun with this. No doubt about it. Alright, guys, here's a quick comparison between the Blade Inductrix, aka the Tiny Whoop, pre-mod anyway, and there you go. They have a very similar frame structure, and I actually thought that this thing had a little bit more rigid plastic pieces, prop guards if you will, but they're virtually the same. You've still got the angle right there for stability. Basically, you've got an EDF right there. So these are very similar, except obviously the receiver's different, because you have to bind it to the tiny radio that comes with this versus like my Spectrum DX6. However, the flight characteristics are very similar, and this one comes with a 5.8 gigahertz FPV camera. I'm going to do a quick pros and cons, and then we're going to wrap this thing up. The camera worked quite well. The depth perception was pretty darn good, especially with the new FPV goggles. The yaw rate, especially in the fast mode, was really quick, very responsive, and that was a very good thing. As well as the pitch, really on both rates weren't bad. Definitely very quick in the mode 2, which outside this thing should be a lot of fun, but I'm probably going to use it primarily as an inside basher when the weather is crap outside, which it's been a lot lately. So I've really been needing something like this, especially to work on my FPV skills. The only real con with this thing is the short thumbsticks. Maintaining consistent altitude was a little bit of a difficult thing. There is a solution for that, but it doesn't come with that. Those are longer sticks. Like, you can get little plastic sticks to make these more hobby grade length. That way they're not quite as hypersensitive, and you have a little more control that way. But other than that, I really like that. Oh, and the lens pointing off to the side just a little bit, so you get a little more of that prop in the view, but really that's negligible. It's not a big deal, at least not to me. So basically, this combo is an inexpensive way, I'd say right around $100 ish, give or take when you're watching this, to have a nice little FPV setup inside your house. That's pretty cool. Check the link in the description. I got this from TomTop.com, of course, and you can too if you click on the link in the description and check it out for yourself. With that being said, like, comment, and subscribe, and GB Linden out.